Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Lindsay and Krista. So glad you're here. Thank you for choosing almost 30. You don't have to be 30. That is the truth.
Just be yourself.
Just be yourself. It's really a metaphor. Truly, it's one of those transitions that changed our lives, and we found a lot of growth and healing during that time. But you might be going through another type of transition in career or relationships or health or what have you. And so we're just here to support you in any part of your evolution.
Yeah, we started 6 years ago on our closet floors, maybe 7 years ago now. And now we have a global brand community. We have powerful courses and programs. We help podcasters, we coach people, all of the things.
All the things. Today's episode,
It's Hot Fire Flames.
hot fire flames
So
for
much
many
fun.
reasons. We had a blast with Shervin in the studio. He is the founder of Cymbiotika, which is a brand I'm absolutely obsessed
Yeah, it's so
with.
good.
But beyond the brand, Shervin is a deep, deep well
Mm-hmm.
of information, experience, and knowledge around basically a lot of like almost
Dude,
every I was like, is there anything that you
I
haven't
know.
studied or immersed yourself in? It's quite fascinating how young his like curiosities and
Mhm.
studies started. It was like 4 years old.
Yes, he was super young. He was the child of immigrant parents, and he really learned a lot of what he knows now through his experience growing up. He learned about biodynamic farming, and he really committed his life's work to knowledge and truth and being an advocate for all areas of life. He seeks to meld Eastern and Western medicine. He knows about epigenetics, psychology, nutrition. And in 2017, he founded Symbiotica, which is a really powerful wellness company that we both love that offers really sophisticated, organic nutritional formulations that are scientifically proven.
Yeah. So this conversation, we go many, many, many places. And it was just really beautiful to get a different perspective. And that's kind of our goal here on Almost 30, bringing people on to share their various experiences and perspectives. And so, as always, I don't think we need to say it, but I'll say it, take what lands and leave what doesn't. I
Mhm,
think this is a really good practice when you're listening to anything to see how it feels in your body, see
mhm,
how it just kind of lands with you, and you can be a sovereign being and discern for
mhm.
yourself.
Because you know if something's triggering you, it's your ego. Because your ego's like, "That is not what I believe.
Uh
I
huh.
believe something different.
Yeah.
I am now scared,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to freak
That's what
out."
my ego sounds
My
like.
ego says, I am now officially scared. I hear something different. So, in this conversation, we talk about detoxification if it's possible. We talk about the importance of minerals, liposomal delivery, which is
Mhm.
really key in health. And Lindsay and I are obsessed with liposomal delivery, vitamins, and minerals. We talk about discernment. We talk about parasites, heavy metals. We talk about, some more controversial things, which is also
Yes.
so much fun. So we really, really go there in this conversation. We talk about free will, discernment, health, and we kind of run the gamut. You guys are going to love this
Mm-hmm.
conversation. I'm so excited to bring it to you.
I'm super excited and thankful. And if you guys are interested in Symbiotica, because we do chat a little bit about it at the end. Again, this is a brand that we really, really. What's your favorite symbiotic product?
Oh my
Just as a
gosh, I
little
have
plug,
their
plug.
liposomal delivery, the mushrooms that are like a chocolatey fudge,
Yes,
at least 4 a day.
you can put that on like ice cream.
I put it
Just so you know.
on berries, strawberries. So it's like a chocolatey fudge um, functional mushroom supplement that
Yep.
tastes like so amazing, and it's actually better absorbed by the body when it's in a fat. And then I love the magnesium.
Yeah, the magnesium is so, so good. I love the vitamin C, and these come in like single serve packets. I also love they also come in little bottles that you can glass bottles and you can just
Yes.
kind of squirting in your mouth.
They have an allergy defense, which is really good. I'm slightly allergic to my baby cats, and
Yeah.
it helps.
Yeah, 100%. And Shilajit. So we talk about
Yeah.
Shilajit a bunch in the podcast, plant-based mineral resin that contains over 84 different essential minerals and fulvic acid and just has so many health benefits, whether it's just immunity boosting, anti-inflammatory, boost your energy. It's really powerful. So I'm excited for y'all because if you use the code almost 30 at checkout, you'll get 15% off your purchase at symbiotica.com. Code is almost 30, baby.
Code is almost 30. Get you some stuff. I can't wait for you to try it. We truly love it. Lindsay and
Yep.
I are dead
I'm
serious about
literally so
our
obsessed with
love. I love the
it.
glass bottles. I love the sacred geometry. It's super intentional. The quality is top, top,
Top.
top. So you guys are going to really like it and you guys are going to love this one.
Yeah.
I would send it to a friend once you're done so you guys can talk about all of the things. So
Mhm.
you can educate your community so you can be in conversation with your community. We are a community-based brand. That is why we have such an incredible membership, whether it's online or in person, since we're now doing in-person events. So thank you for tuning into Almost 30. Thank you for being in our lives, for us being your podcast of choice. It
Yeah,
means a lot.
truly. Enjoy this one. We will see you on the other side. Make sure to subscribe so that every episode is in your inbox.
We'll see you on the other side.
Bye. Every single day, whether I take it with cold water or I put it in my smoothie, I have athletic greens. This is a staple in my routine. It is a staple in what I am putting in my body, and for good reason. I'm sure you've heard about it, but AG1 by Athletic Greens is the category leading superfood product. This brings a comprehensive, super convenient daily nutrition to everybody. So, this is one single scoop. Let me tell you what's in one single scoop. It's going to absolutely blow your mind. It has 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients, including a multivitamin, multi-mineral, probiotic, green superfood blend, and more in that one scoop, that one serving per day. All of their ingredients are of the best quality. They are obsessed with making sure it's high quality, bioavailable. I've trusted them for years. They've been a partner of the show for years and for good reason. We've heard from so many of you out there who have started using athletic greens in your routine, and it just changes everything: your digestion, your skin, your energy. And this is in one scoop. I'm going to say it many times because sometimes we get overwhelmed with taking all the supplements, keeping it all straight. If you're someone who would want to get a comprehensive support within one scoop, vitamins, minerals, whole food supplements, this is for you. It's also great just to fill in nutritional gaps. I've recommended it to many people in my life who, I feel like are wanting to, really support themselves, support a healthy lifestyle to nourish their bodies, but don't know where to start. This is a great way to start. Plus, it sets the tone for everything else you do, really sets the tone for other healthy habits. So go to athleticgreens.com/almost 30. Again, athleticgreens.com/almost 30 to take control of your health. And with your purchase, you are going to get a free 1 year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Those travel packs I take with me everywhere. So with your purchase, you're going to get free 1 year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Go to athleticgreens.com/almost 30. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Listen, I know life can be really overwhelming. I know a lot of you out there are probably feeling burned out without even knowing it. Symptoms can include lack of motivation, feeling helpless or trapped, attachment fatigue, and many more. I've definitely been burned out before. I've felt really detached from people, from my life in general, from my passion, from just my vitality. I've felt just a low level anxiousness all the time. I've felt fatigue. I feel like because my mind is just running, running, running. And so, if this sounds like you, if you've ever felt burned out, if you're feeling burned out right now, I highly, highly recommend therapy. Ah, I highly recommend BetterHelp. A lot of us have busy lives. And so, if therapy can be easy, virtual, and affordable, y'all, I got you. Any of the roles in your life, a parent, a sister, a friend, a boss, really anything can cause burnout. So having a therapist really can help you figure out what is causing stress in your life, help you to redefine it, and really get to the root of what is happening. I've been in therapy for 3 years and it's the best investment I've ever made, hands down. BetterHelp, if you don't know, is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's really awesome. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Almost 30 listeners, yes, that is you. You're listening to this podcast. You get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/almost30. That's betterhelp.com/almost30. BETTERHELP.com/almost30. Let's be real. Feeling your best starts with what you eat. You know, it's not just about the working out. It's not just about the supplements. What you eat is the foundation of how you feel. And Sakara is my go-to for resetting, feeling really good and grounded in my body, feeling super clear and light and energized. I love the Sakara meals. I feel like I have a private chef when I order Sakara. They are plant-rich, ready-to-eat meals, and they also have functional wellness essentials to nourish your body with whole organic ingredients. I trust their ingredients, and they really believe that food is medicine. So if you're interested in nutritionally designed, chef-crafted breakfasts, lunches, and dinners that are made with powerful plant-based ingredients, please, please, please try Sakara. I actually just ordered Sakara, might be prepping for a little wedding coming up. So I am really excited to get my meals this week. Let me give you a sneak peek at my meals. So I'm really excited for the roasted peach chana masala. I mean, do you die? Also, the wild rice and miso salad. So this has shredded seasonal vegetables, wild rice, citrus miso dressing. I'm also really pumped. I love their pasta dishes. The La Dolce Vita Sunchoke pasta. It's brown rice, farfalle pasta, roasted garlic, seasonal vegetables. I mean, say no more. Also, the banana pudding parfait looks amazing. It has cashew cream and mesquite banana. It's going to be a delicious breakfast. So if you want to try Sakara, you know we got you. They're offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to sakara.com/almostsakara or enter the code almostsakara at checkout. That's SAKARA.com/almostsakara to get 20% off your first order. That is sakara.com/almostsakara to get 20% off your first order or use the code almostsakara at checkout.
There's one thought that I have around technology where it's like, I know that advanced races and species leverage technology in a way that supports them in a positive way. Do you feel like there will be a point eventually where we make the turn around having a positive relationship with technology so that it can support our evolution or ascension? And do you believe that this is just the beginning?
Well, we're doing it right now, right?
Yeah.
I think at this point, it can only get to a point where we realize that our everyday lives, our everyday perspective is being dictated by tech, and tech comes in so many different forms. We've already morphed or evolved into a bifurcation of our phones,
Yeah.
right? Our lives are revolved around our phones. I built half of my business through this medium. And so that means that a big part of my life and my everyday action and movement is connecting to something that's connecting to a
Satellite.
a big mainframe system.
Well, we're really thankful you're here in person, and also just thankful, even if you created this business through your phone and all the things, just really grateful that these products, this idea, this mission came through you, because I know you have to be in a mode of receptivity on a whole other level to receive the codes for something as powerful as Cymbiotika. And, I even told Krista when we got the products at first to try, I was like, I'm excited. This is different. This is felt. I can't really describe it at this time, but I know that it is different and it feels really, really good. So thank you.
I'm honored to receive that. That never gets old.
Yeah.
every day, wherever we're at. I could be in the middle of Idaho. I could be in Iceland. I could be wherever. Someone comes up and goes, pretty much what you just said. I love getting recognized, not for being some celebrity or whatever, but for someone who's actually like helping people evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's the best.
It's the best.
It's
And in
truly the
person,
best.
it hits different.
I know.
For sure.
In the DMs, you could have like, you changed my life, you did all this stuff, and it's like heart. You're like, thank you. And it means something. But when you're in person, man, that resonance is just incredible. I have so many things I want to talk about, and I'm really looking forward to just going in and going all the places. But I would love to talk about your journey to this place where you are someone who is so deeply in the health and wellness space. I know that growing up, it was a part of your dharma and it was a part of your purpose. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, you've done some homework. That's incredible. Yeah, from the beginning stages of childhood, I was given an opportunity to evolve within a safe incubator that allowed me to actually perceive my own thoughts and decide if this is something that's real or not.
Mhm.
And the indoctrination was not coming from my family. The indoctrination was coming from the schooling systems that I was a part of at an early age. And so I saw this massive dichotomy between what I was being shown is possible in my home life versus what I was being taught at elementary school. And my parents immigrated from Iran in the mid 70s. I was born in the early 80s. And I was caught in between two worlds. I was caught in between a world of, immigrant parents that English was their second language, and they were evolving as children, so to speak, through their own natural process. And I was this American kid with foreign parents. I was able to take a lot of the beauty of the culture, which was all based on family, energy, frequency, and also a very strong desire to achieve. I don't know if you guys have Persian friends, but they're
They're ballers.
ballers.
Dude. My Persian friends are ballers. It's amazing.
They're whether it's
Beautiful.
whether it's their karma or it's a DNA, something in the DNA or epigenetics, which we'll probably speak on. I was given an incubator with a big torch under my ass, and that was really from my mom actually. And so that pushed me to go and explore all directions. And it pushed me to eventually get mentored by my cousin, David Wolf, who started mentoring me around age 9. And that was when I started really getting all of the worldly lessons that you're seeing all over social media today. I was getting that in 1991. And I was learning about the trickle down economics. I was learning about the banking system. I was learning about foreign policy. I was learning about, soil science. I was learning about being a frugivore. I was understanding how, what organic actually means, what homogenized milk is, what hormones they're giving cows. I was learning these different things, all the conspiracy stories I was learning at such an early age. And so that I grew up quick, for better, for worse. I definitely went from a childhood, wanderer to almost overnight. I was like, whoa, this whole thing's bullshit, and that inspired me to become an investigator. And it's funny, 15 years later, I learned my human design. I am a 1-3 generator. I'm an investigator. I'm an anarchist, and I'm a martyr. And I am literally embodied those characteristics since day one, and all my schooling and all my sports, everything. I was the outspoken one. I was the one pointing at the coach. You're not doing this right. I was, I didn't have any, I couldn't hold back. And that's kind of what evolved me into where I am today. A little bit more refined, of course, because I've learned nonviolent communication. I've learned how to really create ease and grace in your life. But it's put me in a position to have, a beautiful tribe around me. I'm talking real law of attraction here. Beyond just a cosmic, I'm talking about just how you do anything is how you do everything. And it reflects out into your network, into your sphere of influence. And you brought up Cymbiotika. I have amazing tribe within Cymbiotika, and I have amazing partners. And everybody is coming together to really do something and make some serious change outside of just selling a supplement or offering a product. it's actually a full cataclysmic movement.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm
Mhm.
noticing, that we have groups that are investigating we've grown so fast in the last 5 years. And what they can't account for in their analytics machine is that this has become a culture, and it's not just a trendy imagery type stuff. It's not based on mechanistic, materialistic stuff. It's based on like a deep insight and knowledge. And that was knowledge that was brought to me as a child, and it evolved. And I'm pushing that information and energy through our team and then out to the people.
Mhm.
I'm curious how learning and receiving that much information, knowledge, truth at such a young age,
Mhm.
how you metabolize that and how you were able to like be in the world.
Mhm.
That is really
Great
hard.
question.
That's really
Mhm.
hard.
I was angry. I
Yeah,
gotta
I
Yeah.
admit.
mean, I can imagine
Yeah.
because I'm angry as an adult,
Yeah.
knowing what I'm learning now, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how the hell as a
Yeah.
child?
It's one of those double-edged swords. I had a lot of theme of frustration around my relationship with my mother, and I'm honest about it. Me and her are best friends now, and she means the world to me. And we're every day it's an evolution, right? This you chop wood, carry
Yeah.
water. You become enlightened. You do the same thing over and over. There's no destination. And so I had a lot of angst with my mom. My father was more of the actual, the feminine energy, because he was my
Mhm.
safety. He was my water. He was cooling. And my mom was just like bulldozer. And so I had a lot of anger towards my mom. And when I started realizing all the lies that had been corrupting our world, and I can see it through the kids at my peers. I can see how their parents treat them and how they're talking and all this stuff. I was able to transfer a lot of that rage of my mom towards the invisible boogeyman, or towards Big Brother, or towards the dark
The
entities,
Matrix.
the Matrix.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
And
like the mother, the Matrix. Mhm.
that's right.
Mhm.
That's right. And I remember being really cognizant of that, where I, instead of like off gassing and just creating everyday turmoil, I was able to put that towards that. But to answer your question specifically, I was frustrated. I was angry. I was militant.
Mm.
I was ready for war.
Mm.
I was training. I was like in every kind of combat training you can imagine. I was doing Muay Thai. I was doing Aikido. I started doing Kung Fu. I wanted to get savvy with weapons. I wanted to do all that stuff. And it was more than just, the adolescent testosterone, growth. It was like I was ready to be a samurai, and on a fundamental level. And I can tell that shaped me in terms of structure and discipline and things of that nature.
Mhm.
And overall, I wouldn't have changed it for anything. I don't think I missed out on any childhood or anything. My imagination expanded into other
Mhm.
layers of things that weren't based on a corporate company trying to create a fantasy
Mhm.
that I was
Mhm.
just embodying. I see all this stuff today with kids and their iPads and their video games and all of this like AI driven artificial world. That's ripping the fabric of their development, their
Mhm.
faculties. And I also, at age 14, started going to a mystery school during summertime. It was called Gateways. And I went 4 years, 13. I went 4 years of Gateways in a row. And I was learning things that weren't being taught in regular state sponsored curriculums. So I was learning about water. I was learning about rocketry. I was learning about marine biology. I was learning about magic.
Mm.
I was learning about all these things. And this is also the time that I started really expanding my thought processes and reading books. And I was introduced to David Icke when I was
Damn.
12.
Dude, come on. 12?
12. I read The Truth Shall Set You Free.
Holy
And
moly.
that just cracked me wide open in terms of bloodlines, in terms of all of these
Yes.
things. And I was, I'm this kid living in La Jolla, surfing every day. I grew up by Wind Sea Beach, body womping, surfing, playing baseball. I was all of those things. Yet on the other flip, I was preparing.
Wow.
It's a trip. You really look at it. It's like life is so
What would you,
fantastically amazing.
in your
Mhm.
mind, I guess, what were you preparing for?
I was preparing for a battle.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't thinking spiritual war at that point. I was thinking more like this is going to go down. Something's going to happen. There's going to be a problem reaction solution, which I learned from David
Yeah.
Icke. And if you look at
Yeah.
history, someone creates a problem, there is a reaction, and then they provide the solution to
Yeah.
the problem they
Yep.
created.
Yeah.
And it's this whole thing, and it's cognitive dissonance. And I was just like trying to shake people. I was going around giving
Yeah.
lectures. I was a full berserker by
That's-
age 15, 16.
I mean, I
It's
can
crazy.
imagine. And
Yeah.
at that age, you're like just out there.
Oh.
But yeah, that problem
Reaction solution.
if we look in history, you can see that happening in a few different places. And that's like the cycles of abuse too. And that's a lot of times with the
Mhm.
media. It's really keeping you in those certain cycles of abuse. And I was even I was like running on the treadmill, and there was like the news on, and there was these horrifying images of these people beating each other. And then there was like a few seconds later, like they showed these like animals, like these puppies. And it was like, oh, the cycles of abuse where they give you moments of relief just to like bring you back in the cycle
Mhm.
again.
What do they call that? They have a name for that in the news world.
Yes,
It
they
has
do.
a very particular
Yeah.
name. I'm forgetting it
Yeah.
right now.
Interesting.
So-
yeah.
But
Okay. So there's
I've luckily stayed away from that stuff for
Yeah.
a long
Yeah.
time. I do
Yeah.
not allow that to come around me, near me.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
can't even smell it. I want no part of that poison.
yeah.
So
Feel you.
so a lot of people listening a lot of our community probably had their awakening before 2020, or maybe there's a lot that have started their awakening in 2020. What would be your advice then as someone that woke up at a very young age and had a lot of anger and frustration, which I think a lot of people have, and fear around the awakening, where you're like, whoa, none of this is real. All of this is detrimental to my health. And where do I go? What do I do? So what would be your advice for them during this awakening process when they're realizing that a lot of this is an illusion?
Well, a lot of people are in pain, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you want to take that pain and transfer it to purpose, right? And that's easier said than done. But usually you can derive your greatest gifts from your shadows.
Yes.
And that's a holographic gene key perspective. Also, Carl Jung perspective as well is that
Mhm.
within your darkest, deepest recesses of your turmoil and your trauma is where the crown jewel of your life is. And ultimately, we can talk about, the way Wayne Dyer says it in his Tao Te Ching reflection is that there's really no destination. It's just there's a way, and there's a way of like letting go of nothing and making it so serious and making it about something. And I think that if you can get to a position where you can be honest with yourself, like truly be honest, and there's ways of getting to that. I mean, you might go and blow your head off with ayahuasca in the jungles for a month, or you might go through some deep transcendental meditation work or qigong or a deep cellular detox. A lot of people, I believe we store trauma in toxic areas in our body that become fibrotic because nothing's moving there. It's stagnated. However you want to do it. And I'm not saying there's one particular way, but there are ways. You got to get there because every day, every cycle, every moon cycle, and all of that you don't take care of that, you're creating a lopsided balance in your life. We only have a finite amount of time in these bodies, right? Like our time incarnated in this avatar is a drop of time in the ocean of life. Like I just butchered Rumi's quote. Let me see. Okay. It's a drop of time. No, it's a drop in the ocean of time.
Yeah.
I knew it. I only know it in Farsi, the true way.
Will you say in Farsi?
I have no idea how to say that in Farsi. Hold on, let me attempt. Yedone, yeah. Okay, no.
Hey,
All the Persians are going to come after me. I'll come back with it though.
Our personality is
perfect.
strong.
I'll send it. I'll record the audio and send it to you, and then you could just
Drop it in.
Drop it in there.
Perfect.
Okay. Which word magic is full on.
Oh, full on.
I want to talk about that too.
So we got to get into our trauma and get real with it. And it's not getting really tight mentally with what the trauma is. It was this. It was like, where do you feel it? Like we got to start feeling ourselves on an overall level outside of the monkey mind. The monkey mind is like constantly talking to you. It's like just won't shut up. You're like, you can't stop looking in the mirror before you go out, right? You You got to fix everything. That's the monkey mind, just like, oh,
Mhm.
it's not perfect, not perfect. All of these things are contributing to time lost, energy being put somewhere else. I think we're at a point now in our world is, I think about how many people are in the world right now. You take all that people, how many of them are living in their dharma, like what their soul
Mhm.
carnated here to do? And if you think, more than, you know, 10% of the people in the world are living in that, we're probably less,
Mhm.
and that's why I feel like we're in a lot of the perils that we're in right now, where we have systems that are literally imploding upon
Mhm.
implosions. Like it's like every system that we're dealing with here in this country, for example, from our financial system to our medical system to our education system, every system is falling apart.
Mhm.
We're trillions of dollars of fiat money in debt,
Mhm.
and our entire involution as a species is devolving.
Mhm.
I've said it before. I believe we've forgotten what we've forgotten, and children are now adults, and their parents were children, and their parents were children, and their parents were children for at least 10, 12 generations now. And
Mhm.
what do you have when that you have trauma that's just passed on? People aren't doing the work. We've lost discipline, and we're just looking to just buy time so we don't have to feel the pain. And
Mhm.
you're seeing that in the foods we're eating. We're seeing that in the entertainment. You're seeing that in the escapism behavior, whether that's you know egoic drugs, whether that's alcohol consumption at levels that make absolutely no sense in terms of alchemy of the body. When it comes to all the things that get us out of the present, time seems to speed up as we get older. You know that you've heard that
Mhm.
cliche.
Mhm.
It's because we're caught up in the same traumatic loops nonstop.
Mhm.
And that's not even mentioning the whole calendar system that we're on. And so, okay, so my long story short, get so real with your life, get real with who you are. How are you showing up for people? We're always talking about, you got to get rid of people that are vampiric, that are sucking you dry, that are draining you. Well, why don't we not do that? Why don't we ask ourselves, are we doing that to anyone?
Mhm.
Right? Like
We allow
My
yep.
let's
my favorite thing.
Mhm.
ownership. Yeah, if everyone was like getting into their
Everyone's
own
like
ownership.
boundaries. It's like,
Yeah.
where do you?
How do you do anything with
Yeah.
boundaries? You don't do anything.
Mhm.
It just find that the evolution of self that will end the suffering of so many. And then from there, total detoxification, mind, body, soul, like
What does that look
serious.
like?
Yeah.
Well, that looks like, instead of worrying about, okay, what else do I need? What do I have in my lifestyle that's bringing me down? Like, what's my everyday look like? No matter what, we all do kind of the same thing every single day. We eat the same foods, we drink the same waters, we talk to the same people, we drive the same places, we get out of bed the same way, we make love the same way, we have the same community. It's like, okay, are those working? Are they creating patterns of development? Are you having patterns that are robbing you of vital force, robbing you of getting to somewhere that you want to achieve? Are you constantly in a struggle with poverty conscious, for example? Are you in this scarcity mentality that you don't deserve to have XYZ? You don't deserve to have people respect you. You don't deserve to have growth in your life. Are we struggling with the emotional state of constantly looking for pain? A lot of us, that's our safety, is to be in pain. That's why we choose codependent partners. That's why we choose partners that abuse us. That's why we choose relationships that are, always predicated on turmoil. It's almost become like a thing now. I mean, you see it all over social media, you see it on TV, you see it in these shows. The whole thing is based on cheating, lying, and stealing. It's a drug, it's a dopamine hit. And we're using that, we're like mainlining that
Mhm.
stuff into our body all the time. All that stuff is causing serious, drastic destruction at the cellular level. We know it's unraveling DNA. We know it's causing oxidative stress. You could drink all the spring water you want. You could be on all the Cymbiotika products you want. You could be fasting 19 hours a day, having one small window. But if you're living in that kind of frequency, forget about it. You're
Mhm.
you're rapidly going into the disease span. You're rapidly causing an epigenetic switch to turn on hundreds, if not thousands, of biomarkers that will activate disease. And this is a known fact, and so review and analyze your everyday. That's part of the anthroposophy of Dr. Rudolf Steiner, which is what shaped my life, was his clairvoyance and his ability to understand our own conscious was so embedded in not some outside foreign religion or some outside foreign philosophy. It was all about your own decision making and how you strategize your life and how you take every interaction with such a powerful perspective. So you are wreaking value every moment of the day, every single breath. It's so deep in intention. And he created with his, I would say his crew, Waldorf education. He also created biodynamic farming. And the fundamentals of those two things are what? We want to create the best children that are going to lead us into the next generation, that are going to lead us into a utopic reality, are going to lead us into the right decisions. And we want to create the best food, the same food that's going to nourish our bodies, nourish our souls, nourish and give us moral and philosophical compass in life. But the part of that is I find very interesting about those types of systems is the goal was not specifically to create the healthiest food and to create the healthiest children. It was more about the connection that's it's like a vortex, and that cycle. Like, for example, becoming a steward, we have property in Kauai, we have a biodynamic farm. We don't own that. We're stewards of the land. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We're stewarding. We have this like entitlement of ownership. That's all word magic. The entire government, entertainment, entrapment, television, program, weekday, morning. I can go on and on. There's thousands of them. Worrying. It's all this stuff is embedded. Biodynamics and that concept was not to make the best food, but to create stewardship of the soul. So the soul connects to the mother, the earth, and connects to the cosmos. And within that develops the hearts and conscious of men and women. Mm-hmm. You with me?
Yes.
And so it was almost like a hypnotic trance that all the ancients practiced. All the ancients, we see it in all the books. You read the Bhagavad Gita, you read whatever. I mean, you can read all of these different things. It's all based on getting into a different state of mind. And it's not 5D where you're blasting somewhere else and you're ready to incarnate in another world and never be born here again. It's about being so connected to where we are. This is our heaven and this is also our hell. And so I might be full of shit. I might have no idea what I'm talking about. But for me, based on my life perspective, based on the relationships that I have, based on what I've gone through and where I'm at today and where I stand in my truth, it's these principles that put us in a position to have the best life ever and not be in an internal, suffering and cycle. And look, life is tough. I have my stuff too. Everyone might project that, I have it all figured out. No way. I'm constantly going through my own stuff, but these tools are allowing me to be able to move through them with ease and grace, as opposed to every day. It's a cataclysmic event. It's a suffering. It's a 3-day depression. All these things add up, just like everyone's used to getting their flu every year. Why has that become normal? Why are we're not supposed to be out for a week and a half for the next 30 years or 3 weeks, and we're supposed to have a battered immune system? That's not good. We're wasting our momentum. So I'm all about momentum. I'm all about creating freedom in your own life and actually living a life that's free from illusion. Mm-hmm. Illusion is the root of all evil. Mm-hmm. And we're heavy in it right now, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So much there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
That was my
transmission.
That was not a sermon.
No, it was a transmission. It was really, really, really powerful. I wanted to pick the piece about the body and the body's intelligence because I think the mind is so impressionable. I think just by nature, the mind is very impressionable. It kind of has all these different parts and it's kind of doing its own little show, but the body has always been, at least in my experience, and what I'm learning as an adult too, it's like this just center of truth and intelligence always. And so what has been your relationship with your physical body? Because I mean, it's pretty radical that we were all 5 of us here in this room were incarnated into a physical body. Mm-hmm. And so, what has that evolution of your relationship with your body been? And how do you keep it like a clear channel in this day and age with the EMFs, with the, the water stuff, everything?
That's a great question. It came at a good time because I'm about to embark on a journey of really getting into my entire system, my meridian points, my fascia, my movement. I've been linked to I would say a savant, from what I gather, that is really going to be working with me on functional movements and all of those things. That's on a more of a exterior, but it's also interior as well, because spinal cord is what provides nutrition throughout the body and connection and information.
How so?
Well, it's our connection between our brain, which is telling our heart to beat. That's how powerful the subconscious is. Subconscious is 50,000 times stronger than our front conscious. It's our subconscious that is pushing the liver to release enzymes, and the kidneys, and all that stuff is coming from the neural network. Wow. It's incredible. That's why when you're out of alignment and you're sludged over, or you have, disconnections, which everybody has from this modern world that we're living, driving in these cars, living in these lifestyles, living on these couches, all these things. We've basically been incubated into a terrarium outside of being in the wild and being expansive and having to hunt for our food and climb trees and do all these things. We're contracted in. That contraction is dismantling or deteriorating the messaging board system between our neural network and every system in the body. All the reproductive system, cardiovascular system, all of those systems are regulated through the central network. And that central network system, if there is a dead end there, you're going to have a lot of problems. I work with a lot of network chiropractors and see exactly how their systems work. And I'm a big fan. I mean, we're talking about, this is the ancient Chinese medicine, and also an Ayurvedic approach of understanding how these meridian points work. To your question, I've lived a very athletic life. I was an athlete in my entire life. At age 24, I started putting on a lot of muscle, and I was walking around. I'm 6'1". I was walking around at 220 with a lot of muscle on my body, and I would say that was an egoic push that I had, was to hold on to that much meat. And I went through a radical transformation on a very strong entheogenic compound, and this was in 2014. And I completely had a cathartic dematerialization of all that I thought I was. And within 6 months, I had lost almost 70 pounds, and I was going into a full ectomorph cleanse and perspective. And it was what a transition that was. I've since built back, but I had to go through that.
Was it by choice though? I guess, were you conscious about it and you were like, this is a download that I need to change?
Yes.
I'm letting go of this egoic muscle that I have, essentially?
Yeah, all that muscle had so much trauma stored to it.
Wow.
I told you I grew up militant, and I just took that into my 20s, and I wanted to be the baddest motherfucker walking around. I wanted no one to want a piece of me. And I wasn't some psychopath, bumping into people, picking fights, but I was an enforcer energetically around my crew and around everyone that I knew. And it was just part of like the DNA. And it was also, I also had, it was a drug to go to that battle in the gym. Like I was getting out so much anger and so much frustration in the gym, because you're pounding away, and that force was my drug. I wasn't doing any drugs or any of that stuff, and that was my like getaway. And it served its purpose, but it also put me in a position where I did have some injuries and stuff like that, because I was abnormally morphing my body into something that technically I should not have. We shouldn't, that was way overdoing, and it was out of balance. Just like everything in this life, we got to find balance. I feel like I'm getting there right now with my training and my lifestyle. You mentioned, how am I dealing with all the stuff that they're spraying in the skies, what's in the water supply, the non-native electromagnetic frequencies.
Wait, say more. Let's slow down.
One by
Because
one.
I know. This is what happens is I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I feel like, and it's not like I want you to prove anything, but I just kind of want to like slow down on all those and explain what that is. So when we're talking about spraying stuff in the sky, what are you talking about? Or you go fast.
I see
you go
some
fast
PR
for a
eyes
reason.
going, wow.
Yeah, I like to drop seeds.
Got it. Okay.
For lack of a
I feel
better
that.
term,
Okay,
because
drop
they
seeds.
Feel that.
they are dropping seeds in the sky. So, how about this? There's a lot of stuff going on around us, and if you want to learn more, just open your fucking eyes.
Yeah.
Just
Perfect.
lift your head up and just wake the fake
Get off
up.
your phone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, get off your phone, fix your posture, breathe. Like try that on for a second. Maybe not like 40 mouth breaths per minute, but maybe like 12 through your nose.
Mhm.
And then maybe you get down to 4 at one point,
Mhm.
which is usually where we want to be, at 4 breaths a minute. And just look around you. I mean, we drove up here on the 405, right? The 405 is fascinating. You're driving by the Long Beach Distillery,
Mhm.
right? That place is so hectic. You drive by it, everything around that place is ugly. You get what I'm saying? It's just because that's explosion energy, right? So you have the freeway. How many millions of cars are passing through that? I don't know, every week or whatever,
Yeah.
every month. I don't know the numbers. And that's all combusting. And then you have that massive distillery where they're just freaking doing God knows what over there. That whole area is just one big pile of shit, right?
Mhm.
And so everything around that area is disgusting. It's ugly. It's gross. And that's a cosmic perspective, is that wherever things in nature are beautiful and implosionary energy, like rivers, like springs, like, waterfalls, everything around there is beauty, right? And that's because you're dealing with all the electrons of the implosionary energies versus all the freaking weird protons that are coming off the explosion. And so we're basking in a world right now that has massive reverberations of die-off. We're having copious amounts of chemicals and weird frequencies and non-native electromagnetic frequencies. I mean, it's everywhere. We're probably bathing in them right now.
I know. I
We
was
are.
like, he's going to die when he comes in this room.
I can feel it. I'm starting to shake. No, it's
But we're also in this area. There's
Yeah.
5G towers everywhere.
Yeah, the 5G towers here are insane. Let's talk about that. 5G.
wow.
EMF.
We're in century. Yeah, there's for sure 5G here. My
100%.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me
Because you
take
could
a
even
deep
start
breath.
with just us being electric beings, because that's very.
Yeah, we're. I learned this from avocado. And it's just that you just start learning it when you start understanding biochemistry. We're electrical before we're chemical, meaning our system is governed by electricity at the core, and all the chemicals are, basically byproducts of the system. And we now know that in an aging process, you're losing your electric voltage. It's called the Browning effect.
Mhm.
And the more
Chi.
voltage you lose, the closer and more rapid you start moving towards degeneration. And so your heartbeat is basically, it's fluttering and it's beating based on an electrical rhythm. You take the electricity out, the heart stops. And that electrical rhythm is predicated on a polarity between acid and alkaline. And the closer those two start to combine, then your heart stops. And so what's creating the polarity to start meeting in the middle? And that's toxins, that's biotoxins, that's stress, that's radiation in all forms, all of that stuff. So what are we going to do about it? First of all, if get away from 5G as fast as possible. It's not a conspiracy. We don't know what it's doing. I can at least feel comfortable saying, I don't know exactly what 5G is going to do to someone over the next 24 months. I have no idea. I can postulate, but I don't know. The science is clear. We are affected by these forms of radiation, especially something that's so concentrated as a 5G tower, because 5G doesn't get long distance. It's very short distance. It's like a big bath, right? You're getting a heavy wave of it. And I have no idea what the purpose is behind that. Does someone need to download Dances with Wolves while they drive by the corner and watch it? the only reason why I think that they want 5G is because they're capturing a lot of data.
Yeah.
And it's a huge data capture. And I'm not going to say they want it because they want to crack your immune system. I won't say that here, but you never know. And so better safe than sorry. So stay away from 5G as much as possible. Turn your Wi-Fi off at night if you can. Better yet, use an Ethernet in your house so you're not bathing in that. That's something that we're working on. Our previous home was all Ethernet, and I could feel a total difference. Ground to the earth. Get your feet on the earth. Discharge from all this, this displaced radiation. That is a real thing. Think about it. We're not supposed to be in these boxes. Our mother did not design us for this. Or we're supposed to be in nature. I mean, we were just in Big Sur for the last week, and
It's the best.
you get in the forest where you're having, the Pacific's right there. You have spring water. You have redwoods. You feel what it's like to be really connected to your own body finally, because all the defragmentation of the non-natives really adds up. And when you get into those places, it's just all that gets pushed out. And my God, your body feels good. You feel lubricated. Your joints feel good. Your brain is working.
Less
You're not
inflamed.
all the inflammation. They've showed reports of clumping of the blood. So if you do a live blood analysis, someone that's like, in their rubber shoes, walking around in the office on the 34th floor, right? And then they do a live blood analysis. They look and all the red blood cells are all clumped together, right? Which is not what we want with our blood. Our blood needs to be electromagnetic. It needs to have currency. It needs to be flowing. There needs to be energy where nutrition can get through. And then they put your feet directly in the ocean for like an hour. And then they do the live blood analysis and everything is just opened up and everything is flowing. So we got to, but these concepts are all over the internet. Everyone's like, oh, you got to ground, you got to earth. I think that we need to really get to the core of our health. And those principles are proper sleep, hydration, making sure that your eating windows are properly. You're not just sitting there like snacking on food all day long.
6 meals a day?
No, you're not.
Remember that? Like, what an effort.
Dude, crazy.
Why is our lives revolved around food? And it's not even real food.
But it's a little bit of a distraction from
production.
Yeah. It's like for many, it's an escapism thing. But I also think on the other side of that, I've really enjoyed making my own food, going to the farmer's market. I don't have the ability yet to grow my own food, but I will. And it's like that's connection to it that I've enjoyed, kind of the relationship with meals. But so do you do fasting for most of the day, or what does that look like?
It really depends on what my lifestyle is in that moment.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like on the super grind. Sometimes
You
I'm
don't
not.
have dogma with fasting?
No, not at all. That's good. Part of our lives is about breaking bread, with your loved ones.
Yeah.
And it's about the poetry and art of creating food and alchemy, 100%. But it doesn't mean that we need to be consuming it nonstop. And so, and there's an energy about, like we have a beautiful garden. We harvest all our own herbs. We have 24 fruit trees now. I mean, it's going off. And when we're in Hawaii, it's like the same thing. It's just like you're just eating the mana of the earth and you were the steward of it. Like you planted that, you did that. All of those things matter, and they cultivate a level of happiness and satisfaction. When you look at today's food situation, versus 100 years ago. 100 years ago, everyone had a connection to the food they ate. Either they grew it or their neighbor grew it. Well, they said almost 99% of the population they knew where the food was coming from. Where today it's like 1/8 of 1%, right? And we talked about it with biodynamics.
Yes.
The whole point of biodynamics was not just to make good food, but to connect the person to the earth. We've forgotten that connection, and so now we just take food for granted. That right there is causing a faculty for a child to not develop what the importance of food and the value of food. And because they don't have that and they don't see all of that, they just see a box that shows up, or they just see a fast food, or they just see something that their parents made. They're not getting all that. And because they don't get all that, they're not developing the faculty of awareness and empathy. Empathy is destroyed in that moment. I strongly believe in that. And that's the same thing. Adults we're just taking food for granted. We're just doing what we can. And look, I'm not blaming anyone or judging anyone. This is just the facts of where we're at today. In order to get better, we have to like identify these issues. Today, the system is, people are worried about paying rent and paying their car insurance. You get what I'm saying? Like, how many people can sit and really like contemplate how they're really going to have an effective process on creating food and choosing food and learning how that's farmed? I totally get it, but that's it right there. We ask, why are we having so many autoimmune diseases? What is an autoimmune disease? Autoimmune disease, the body's not recognizing its behavior and is attacking itself. Autoimmune is such a cop-out. It's so much deeper on an energetic level, an emotional level. Stress is the number one cause for these conditions. And eating programmed processed food that's causing insulin spikes is right there with it. And those two things combined together, combined with all the toxicities of our world, we're in a state of, this is a frenzy state right now. I can't tell you how many people message me on a daily basis, their entire situation, their plight, their story. And it's tough. It's really tough because I can't specifically give someone medical advice. I'm not a medical doctor. I can just point them in the right direction. But I'm talking, there's so many people out there that are struggling with their health. And I always think, how many people know what the liver does? Like actually can understand, besides it cleanses us. That's like one of 1,000 things the liver does. And if people don't understand the body, how are they going to understand anything? And instead of worrying about like, the latest outfit or whatever the hell they're talking about, like, why don't we just learn about how our liver works? Start there. And that goes back to momentum. What can I do today to get me prepared for tonight? What can I do today to get me prepared for tomorrow? It's you just start making changes in your life. You start moving things into priority. Maybe the stuff that you're so into is not serving you. It's possible that you're wasting too much time scrolling through Instagram instead of spending 20 minutes of concentrated, disciplined time to learn a new subject every single day, or to listen to this beautiful podcast with these awesome ladies. There's like, these are things, if you're listening to this, then you're listening to this. So you're doing something for yourself today. And I commend you for doing that. Small wins create success. There's no, what is the quote? The elevator of success is closed. Take the stairs.
I love that. I mean, that's like the biohacking type thing, or just like trying to hack your life.
I'm not into biohacking, by the way.
Tell me more.
I'm just, I
actually wasn't either. Like after a point, I was like, well, it feels like I'm not biohacking what God created.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
we're not machines.
I just feel like it was like, kept trying to trick the body.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done trying to trick my body.
And like a bypass of like so many other things that are the root cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's like kind of what we're missing, to your point of like, hey, let's start with the liver. I think if people don't want to connect the dots, so say like, oh, let me learn about the liver, all the things that it does. Then knowing that and not being able to not know that.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, so the fact that I have 2 drinks a night, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Connecting the dots with the habits, the relationships, the choices, you begin to realize, oh, wow, my life has to change in more ways than I'm willing to engage with right now. I have the capacity for right now. And it becomes an overwhelm, I think, for so many people that is just, they're unable to take it on. Yeah. But to your point, little wins every day. One thing every day, and it compounds over time, and you start to feel better, and then it becomes intuitive. So you don't even have to try so hard, and you all of a sudden start to attract and manifest within your reality kind of this like, oh wow, okay, like I'm actually meeting people that are more in resonance with how I want to feel. I'm actually, wow, this food, it's so vibrant. This is what I want to eat, rather than just going for the convenience. So
I think you nailed it right on the head. It's, when you're in survival, which most people, they're in survival.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And they don't even know it.
Yeah.
And their body's under such stress. They're under financial stress. Their biochemistry is completely dilapidated. Their organs are probably not working properly. The brain is muddled with stuff, and their fear load is through the roof.
Yeah.
It's like, how could they even think about change? They're just holding on like a wounded animal. What does a wounded animal do in nature? It digs a hole and just sits in there and doesn't do anything. That's how it heals, right? It's really interesting.
Mhm.
And so if you're hearing this and it resonates with you, it goes back to what we first talked about, is to really do a real deep dive in your reflection and just look at your life and just get real. Maybe stare in the mirror for 12 hours. Maybe maybe read a book, or do some inner work and find out what's holding you back and where your fear is connected to. Maybe it's connected somewhere in your body, and maybe that just needs to open up.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you down with biohacking?
I think it's the tech world came in and really wanted to profit off measuring every single biomarker and every single analytic that you can encompass and understand. And I think that's overwhelming for the majority. I think there are certain people that can benefit from it. There are certain things like understanding your sleep patterns and maybe looking at your blood sugar and your glucose intolerance and all those things. Those are absolutely. But once it crosses over into things that are just like so ridiculous, you take away the fluidity of being human.
Yeah.
And we're moving more towards that
technology.
I call it the Ahrimanic perspective, which is the hyper materialism. And that's
what?
I'm curious why you looked at her.
Why?
Yeah, no, it's a deep cosmological
the ESP happening.
It's deep cosmology through Rudolf Steiner's cosmogenesis. It's the demon of materialism is named Ahriman, and
Armani.
Wow. And it was the deity. It was the evil deity in the Zoroastrian religion, which is 5,000 years before Christ. It was the first monotheism faith, and it's interesting that Steiner chose Ahriman as the material demon in this world, and he predicted 100 years ago that 100 years from then, today, we would be entering the ultimate impulse of Ahriman. And if we don't snap out of our mechanistic material life in the next 20 years, we're going to enter a dystopian world called the eighth sphere. And that's like, you've seen it in sci-fi movies. It's like this completely radical material world where we have no connection to the earth and everything technology has tried to bypass everything. And I can see that happening. I can see it through artificial intelligence. I can see it through all of these weird systems that are being put into place right now that is trying to compete with our destruction.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're going to destroy like this, but our technology will save us, and we're just going to try to meet it there. And that's a Ahrimanic tendency. And our connection to these phones and these devices and these technologies is an impulse within us that is super materialism and heightened materialism. And then on the other end, you have the really hyper spiritual, which is which is an energy that's not healthy as well. So
Can you say more about that?
Well, there was a renaissance of spirituality over the last 30, 40 years. You had the psychedelic revolution in the late 60s and 70s. And then, the government came and said, nope, we're not doing that. And then it came back around, right? I think something is going on in this dimension where we want to connect to our spirit. And that's what, these medicinals are, whether it's DMT, whether it's mescaline, whether it's LSD, psilocybin, iboga, all of these different things. These are gateways into other worlds, or I wouldn't say it alien worlds, but more interdimensional worlds. And my theory is, the closer you can get to death without dying is the closest thing to having an evolution. And they call it the samadhi, the practice of dying before dying. And so, there was a gold rush or a mad rush to these experiences and to these worlds by people that were living in such a materialistic mind frame that they've gone off the deep end and went too far, where in my opinion, we need to find balance between being both material and ethereal. And it's that it's that balance, because you can see the gurus and a lot of the heavy spiritual fifth dimensional people, they're losing their physical body. They're not rooted and grounded in spirit. They might be choosing diets that aren't working for them and causing chaos in the body and creating imbalances. So, I find myself to be somewhere right in between, where I respect the body. I know that I'm not a prisoner to this body, but I'm inhabiting this body. So I'm going to respect it and honor it and learn how it works to the best of my ability. But I also know that I'm not the body. And so I can go into, areas of just, deep outer and inner work.
Do you believe that? Do you believe we have free will?
That's such a good question.
It's like my favorite thing to think about.
Yeah. I will say I have free will. I don't know if you do.
Yeah.
I don't know if the next person does, but I'm going to have to say I have free will. But I do have moments where I do feel like I'm suffocating and I'm under a lot of pressure, and it's not, I think it's more just there are people that depend on me. And so that constricts me sometimes, because based on my, my astrology and my design.
What's your sign, Virgo?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Okay, that was my sign.
I'm a Scorpio rising.
Cool.
And a Capricorn moon.
Got it.
Damn.
But I'm a free bird in every sense.
Yes, that's a Sag.
That's Sag, right? Yeah. And so but overall, introspectively, I definitely believe that we have free will. And I think that the free will has been fleeting us because of the systems that are in place.
Yeah.
And we have so much, we're not like just living in our own realms on this plane of existence. We're like stuck in these systems, and we got to pay our taxes, and we got to do X, Y, Z. It's all these things, all this shit, right? And I understand we need to have regulations in society to a certain degree. And I believe, especially with the population and all this stuff, but I don't know. We're in interesting times. I don't think this is going to last. That's my opinion. There's going to have to, something's going to have to give, in my opinion.
As far as the humans.
Yeah. As far as, as far as just the way we're doing things right now.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
How would you characterize this time? Because people are saying, there's a crumbling so that we can rebuild. How would you characterize what we're in right now?
Yeah, I believe we're always crumbling to rebuild.
Yeah.
That's how the immune system works.
Yep.
So the inner world reflects the outer world. So hormesis, that which does not kill you makes you stronger, right? That's a real, that's why we jump in cold rivers. That's why we do crazy shit, so we can build that resilience. We're being tested, right? When are we not tested? There's always something going on in our reality. So this whole thing that we just dealt with, this experiment, so to speak, it has really drawn the line in the sand for a lot of people, especially mothers. I want to speak on that.
Say no more.
I'm so hyped on the mothers and just how fucking powerful the cosmic feminine is. And I don't look at it like, oh, I'm a man, so I'm masculine, and woman's feminine. We all carry these archetypes, and just seeing the mothers step up and, hold their kids and make such radical decisions because they didn't have a choice is so empowering, and has really given me and a lot of my family and friends and tribe a lot of, I don't like to use the word hope, but it's given us a lot of like powerful projections.
Yeah.
I don't believe in luck or hope. I think those are dangerous. I believe in gnosis, like the embodiment of just knowing. And so this time that we're in right now, we've been tested beyond belief. Well, I think we'll continue to be tested. And I think the good word is getting out there that nobody's coming to save you. Tribe up with your soul family, and how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And so really just snap out of your illusion and your dogma and show up. And at the same time, have the best fucking time ever. You know, we're having the best time ever. We're traveling all over the world. We're meeting epic people. We're doing badass events. We trip in the jungles. We go all over. We're doing the craziest stuff. I'm having these kinds of conversations. Like, I'm hyped. Like, what? I'm not sitting in an incubator somewhere, typing on a weird screen, trying to log something in. I'm here for it. And so I have private rooms that I'm part of outside of social media. I have one that's got almost 4,000 people in it, and there's no anonymous. Everyone shows up, everyone's there. And it's like, I'm seeing this like energy. These people are like, and it's all based on like truth and love and people being vulnerable. That's another thing. Like vulnerability. I know they say it's a superpower. It's everything. It's like, if you can be vulnerable with your brother, with your sister, with your lover, with your family, you have something. And there's something there that will allow you to go into higher levels of development and attainment.
And I think vulnerability can be a momentum. Like I feel like your own vulnerability unlocks someone else's vulnerability, and it has the power to change everything, because I think what we're kind of doing, we just generally, but I think what we're seeing is this show that people are kind of putting on, especially whether it's like social media or just being out there, where it's like, I need to be a certain way in order to fit in or not be ostracized or fill in the blank. And so that doesn't allow the true self to come forward, because what if part of my true self is hated or people are uncomfortable with it? So I just really appreciate you saying that, because I think it's so true, but we're not taught.
Where was that developed? Yeah, exactly. So that's childhood, right?
Childhood. We're not taught that.
No.
We're kind of, or at least I'll speak from my experience. I had amazing parents, and I think there was a, you need to act this way in order to be accepted. Like you need to be polite. You can't act out. If you're angry right now, like not here.
Right.
Things like that, where we're kind of like molded as children to act a certain way in school, etc. I didn't go to a Waldorf school. So I just feel like we're also not actually modeled it by teachers, by parents, by whatever, to share in that vulnerable way and like really be ourselves in every moment and not have to like kind of pretzel ourselves in order to be accepted or liked.
Yeah, that's social engineering and social conditioning, and we all have parts of it, right? Because it's like people think, oh, we don't want to deal with that, or that's not something that's appropriate, or you're crazy. And I'm guilty of that. There's times where I know that I don't want to have that level of communication just spilled upon me, or I don't want to present that to another group of people. And I kind of diffuse that energy, but I always go back to, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Someone wants to communicate and someone has something to say. Who are we to like be the watchdogs for everything? It's like, what did David Icke say? He says the government doesn't have enough agents to put into every household, so they make the sheep herder. So they turn the parent into the sheep herder. The parent becomes the agent, right? And that's the whole premise on the Matrix, right? Is that anyone?
What's that tower where it's like the example of the tower where it's like watching everyone?
The Babylon Tower,
Yeah.
Tower of Babylon.
Babel.
Yeah, we just gotta shake free of all this like social conditioning and just like shake it out. And I think it begins from self. Like it's just like, okay, where am I? Where am I acting upon these programs? Right?
Where am I censoring myself?
Where am I censoring myself? And I think there's a balance. It doesn't mean like you be this like chaotic, catastrophe all the time, and you're just like a total, you know what I mean? It's like it's like
It's
use
interesting
practicality.
how we always go with the lowest common denominator with our culture, though. You know what I mean? We're like, okay, so if we don't censor, everyone's going to be saying fuck you to everyone else. It's like, there's also the other side of being like, I love you. Like, you're amazing. Like, that was incredible. You know what I mean? We always go to like, oh, everyone's going to freak out and rob everyone and like do everything. It's like, no, there's also the other side where there's more love, more expression, more truth.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. It's crazy. I really want to talk a lot about the products too. I would love to talk about like the liposomal delivery, why that's
Yeah.
important. I have like,
I love it.
dude, I have like 20 packs a day. It's so bomb.
Yeah, we need to check her dosage.
It's
I can
bad.
tell.
Yeah.
I can tell you're glowing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's got me. Why liposomal delivery?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And what is it?
okay, so liposomes was developed by the pharmaceutical industry, in the 60s and early 70s. And it makes sense because they're trying to get a targeted drug into the body. And we now know that you are what you eat, but even more importantly, you are what you absorb, right? Because there's a lot of things that we're putting in our body that we're either just pissing out or it's actually causing stress on internal organs, specifically the liver and kidney. And so, and gallbladder as well. And so for us, I was just in the deep research, and Cymbiotika was birthed to basically be an anchor for people that were missing nutrition. And there's a philosophy and a science called orthomolecular medicine. Orthomolecular medicine is the science that a lack of nutrients leads towards pathological diseases. And we're not supposed to be taking supplements. Let me be clear. And this is me being so honest. We're not supposed to be supplementing. We're supposed to be getting all of our nutrition from our food and our ecosystem and our sun and the earth, all of those things. The problem is that that's all but gone to a certain degree. And so we have to supplement to stay on course and stay on par so we're not dipping into immunological damage, which turns into disease. And so Cymbiotika was birthed on that orthomolecular perspective. A lack of nutrients causes many issues. So I wanted to plug that hole. And so my team and I, we really were trying to figure out what is the best way of getting nutrition in the body. And it just kept going back to liposomal. It just kept going back to liposomal. And so instead of taking, tablets and pills and things like that, we wanted to turn nutrition into food. So liposome basically means encapsulated by a phospholipid or a fat. And so there's a technology where you can take fat soluble nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin K, D3, whatever it is, and other vitamins and minerals, and you can encapsulate it in a phospholipid. So when it goes into your body recognizes it as food, and it doesn't get destroyed in the first digestive pass through the hydrochloric acid in your gut. And it actually makes its way into the large intestines where it starts to degrade and then gets thrown directly into the bloodstream. So you're basically creating in a very efficient way of getting nutrition in your body, and your bioavailability is extremely high. So with Cymbiotika, you not only know you're getting the best sourcing, you're getting all organic stuff, you're not getting no fillers, you're getting none of that shit, but you're getting the exact dosages that are in there, and you're also getting the best combinations, which is another reason why liposomes work so well with our products, is that I don't believe in isolated nutrition. Every one of on average, our products have 12 ingredients in it. On average, right? Some have 24 ingredients, some have 9, right? But on average, we're somewhere around 12, 13 ingredients. All of those are in there for a reason. They all potentiate each other. And liposomes really brings a lot of that magic in together. The packaging, the storage, all of that kind of stuff. Our products are manufactured within 2 days. After it's gone through all lab testing and everything, within 2 days, it's out there. You get what I'm saying? These are not products that sit around in your cupboard for 2 years. These are live liposomes that need to be used immediately. I've been in the health and wellness industry since I was a little kid. I've been around it. I know all the masters. I was around Ron Teagarden, Dragon Herbs when I was a little kid. I was around, I've just been around all of these different people, and I know how this system works. And most of the companies out there right now, I'm not going to say any names, but you have no idea where this stuff is coming from. You have no idea how long it's been sitting on a shelf. And most of these raw materials that they're using, no one has any idea on what it is.
Yeah.
And so with us, we're really going out of our way to be transparent with everything. Obviously, our company is evolving, and my whole thing is I put the best people around me. So I have the most amazing team. the entire Cymbiotika family from, A to Z is all vested in, down from my partners to the scientists to the chemists to the farmers to the extractors to all of them, and everyone is on that same wavelength. Like this is how we're going to do it. We're not going to cut any corners here. We don't care about margins in this business. It's really about getting this message out there, and that's what's going on with it right now. So that's your liposomal question.
Fucking love
I
it.
love
I'm
I love
obsessed.
it. It makes a difference. It really is. It makes a difference. And I also like taking it.
Yeah,
Just
I
on a
enjoy
more
it.
like general level, I love taking it every day. But what do you know about what most people are deficient in and why?
Minerals. We are completely, deficient in minerals.
Why is that? Soil?
Stress, soil, water, hydrological cycle.
Yeah.
It's not, our foods are just shot,
Yeah.
and like for magnesium, for example, magnesium is like
My favorite thing ever.
yeah,
The
it's
best.
like I dream of magnesium. Like
It's honestly my number one thing when people are like, what's your number one health tip? I'm like, magnesium.
yeah, it's just
the
it's the
best.
conductor of everything. It's what conducts cellular communication. When you're under stress, what burns off? What's like your placeholder? Magnesium. It acts as a cofactor. It's involved in hundreds of biological processes. It's incredible stuff. That's why we have two forms on Cymbiotika. We have the L-threonate in liposomal version, which is the brain magnesium. And we have the topical magnesium
Yeah,
as
I like
well,
that.
which is, those two in conjunction. And then if you're doing like, magnesium soaks, you're freaking stoked. I think the deficiency in mineralization right now is a root cause of most problems. If we can just get mineralized, we got one thing out of the way, and a very, very important one. We talked about we're electrical. You're electrical because of your mineralization. And so also minerals displace heavy metals, right? So toxic metals, toxic anything in the body that shouldn't be there. Proper mineralization pushes that stuff out, and that's why we're big on Shilajit. We actually is
Love Shilajit.
interesting. We provide the most Shilajit on Earth right now to the most
No
people.
way.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's talk about dharma.
Yeah, I
Like,
was gonna say that's a
I get emotional just thinking
Wow.
about that.
yeah, that's
That's trippy.
mhm.
I learned about Shilajit 2005. I was like, what the hell? What is this? I remember my cousin gave me some, and it was like a hash resin. I thought it was hash. I was like, what do we do? Are we supposed to dab this? He's like, no. This is not for dabbing. This is resin. We eat this. I'm like, you eat that? And then he walked me through the whole thing,
What is it?
Shilajit, it's the cornerstone of Ayurveda. It translates to conqueror of weakness. It's basically a mineral pitch resin of phytonutrients, terpenes, fats, minerals, fulvic acid, humic acid, all of them collected through pressure. I mean, we think we're burning fossil fuels. No. This is a fossil fuel. And what I mean by fossil fuel is we're talking about like plants and nutrition that have made its way into the soil. That's what Shilajit is. And once it's in your body, it's doing a lot of cool things. It's electrolyzing your body. It's, pushing out toxins and acids. It's getting into your organs. It's getting into your brains. It's incredible stuff.
What about parasites?
Parasites.
I feel like they're so popular in LA. Everyone says like, I've got parasites.
Everyone's like, I want to hang out with the parasites.
No, they're just like, I've got parasites. Like, I
Well,
feel
it's
like
lost
eating
angels, right?
100%. It's
Fallen angels.
demons. What do you
Totally.
mean? This whole place is run by demons. But it's like, I feel like with the parasites, it's another one of those things where it's like girls are like finding ways to like channel their eating disorders into like things where they're saying like, I have parasites, like, but what are parasites? Do people have them? What's the deal?
Oh yeah, parasites are running rampart.
How do you get them? And can you live with them peacefully?
You could definitely live. You're gonna have to. You'll never eradicate parasites, but you just don't want an infestation where it's like causing such a loss.
How would you tell that you had an infestation?
You can tell by just your overall general health, also your behavior, right? So like if you're having massive mood swings or sugar cravings, or when it's the full moon and you're losing your shit, like that's a big way of detecting that.
Yeah, because the bugs are almost taking you over.
Yeah, well, so
Wow.
the moon energy is strong, and
Yeah.
so that's why they call it lunatics,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And but to get more scientific, I mean, there's ways you can test your stool and do things like that, all that yum stuff. And we're definitely in a parasite world, and the parasites, they like to eat our cartilage. They like to eat soft tissue in the body,
Mm.
and they cause a immune system that's always on like is always fighting.
Mm.
We have a lot of parasites in our oral cavities. I don't know if you guys were following me. You guys are you on my Instagram?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
a year and a half ago, I went. So one of our best friends is I'm going to plug her right here. She's the top biodentist in the world. Her name is Dr. Valerie Cantor.
Mm.
She was on the Wake the Fake Up podcast. She's the best ever. She's retreating root canals. She's just doing it the right way. And we were talking about health and come to the conclusion that a lot of our health comes from our mouth, right? That's the root cause. And like, what's the oral health of our world right now? And how many people have something called cavitations? And I learned this just came up because you said parasites. We have parasites in our oral cavities that are breeding in there and causing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I feel like I have a really strong bill of health, and I was asymptomatic, but every time I'd go into like some kind of medicine ceremony, I'd always feel like there was something going on in my jaws, and it was just like, what the hell is going on here? And so I brought it up to her, and then she's like, "Did you get your wisdom teeth pulled?" And I said, "Yeah." And when I was 21, I got my wisdom teeth pulled like
Oh my God.
like an uneducated person,
Yeah, like a non-wise person.
like a non-wise person. And what happens is that you get bacteria and toxins and parasites and weird stuff. They burrow in there and they create organisms, and they live in those pockets, deep cavitations. So there's something called a cone beam scan that you can get done, and you can order that. It's a couple $100. They'll come to your house and they'll scan you right there. It's a 360 imaging.
Wow.
And sure enough, I had 4 deep pocketed cavitations. So I immediately went into surgery. It was a 2-week process. It was full on, and they removed a lot. Mind you, I was asymptomatic, and our entire mouth is lined up to meridians.
Yeah.
Each tooth has a meridian. That's why you don't want to just yank a tooth. There's a connection point to that. It's an anchor.
Wow.
And our electrical system is governed by that from the mouth, our left brain axis. I mean, all these different things. And so I went through that process. It was just an unbelievable ride and journey. So parasites are real. You definitely want to do some cleansing. You definitely want to make sure your liver is working properly. An inactive, or a fatty liver or non-alcoholic fatty liver is one of the main ways where you're going to get overridden by parasites. The liver is the alchemist of the body. It's what you metabolize everything through the liver. The liver geotags everything that goes in the body as something that you want versus something you don't want. It's also where we're manufacturing hormones. It's the cornerstone of health. So really focus on your liver, and from there, your microbiota, all of those things. But by not being stagnant, by moving your body, by getting in infrared saunas, by getting into cold water, drinking clean water, getting mineralized, getting sunshine, having an active immune system, and choosing your love partners properly. That's important as well. And not eating weird sushi all day long. You're going to be in a good place.
Oh yeah, the parasites and sushi. Just quickly on the wisdom teeth. Why do they tell us to get our wisdom teeth out, and why shouldn't we get them out?
Modern dentistry is just an abomination. I'll say that right now. I have no problem saying that. Modern dentistry is archaic and filled with so many inconsistencies. And for whatever reason, they thought it was a good idea. If your teeth are impacted or whatever, instead of trying to figure that one out, we're just going to yank them out. And it's just so ridiculous how they do that too. They just pull them out and they sew up the gum, if that, and they give you ice and maybe a pain.
I remember it being just traumatic.
Yeah,
that's do you have your wisdom teeth pulled?
I had my wisdom teeth pulled, but then I also had adult teeth I had adult teeth missing. So I had like 4 or 5 baby teeth pulled at once. And then everything was pushed forward. So I have veneers, yada, yada, yada. I had it when I was like 14.
Oh, wow.
But a lot of trauma in my mouth
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
that I'm like thinking about now. I'm like, oh,
I wonder
so
what the
interesting.
wisdom
like
teeth are connected to from meridian perspective. Like
yeah, exactly.
how are
Heart-
they taking our power away?
Heart. Yeah. It's connected to the heart. It's
Mm.
connected to your spleen.
Wow.
And it's connected to your resolve. You know what I mean by your resolve?
No.
Like your backbone.
Wow.
It's interesting, which makes sense because it's your back anchor,
Wow.
right? And from there, it's like if you had an infection sitting there, it's constantly leaking into
Yeah.
your heart. And this is interesting, and everyone can look this up. If you look up pathologies on heart disease, which is the leading cause of death
Mhm.
in the world right now, and number 2 is cancer, you can tie in root cause from the oral health into those pathologies.
Dude, that makes me mad.
Yeah.
That
There's
actually makes me
documentaries
really
on
mad.
Gaia too about root canals and the root connection between root canals and cancer.
Absolutely. It's
There's a
necrotic
lot.
tissue.
Yeah.
Like who thought, like, can you imagine sewing in like a dead piece of flesh onto your body? That's going to rot.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like that's the same thing. It's just constantly you have a dead organism in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not even talking about mercury
I
and
know.
amalgams. That's freaking wild that like we were
Mhm.
putting mercury and not even like real like weird forms of mercury in the body, and you're drinking hot coffee or whatever, and
Oh.
you're in the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like what's off gassing with that? It's
And I
hectic.
think it's like it's the metal. It's like how can they control? It's
I know,
so
my
if
mind
we're-
is going
if the metal's in
crazy right
there, then
now.
we're being able to be controlled more because it's
Why are people getting depressed? Why are
Yeah.
they getting mood swings? When you're depressed and you have mood swings, what do you want to do? You want to probably get involved with other people's drama.
Drink.
You
Mhm.
want to drink. You want to watch TV. You want to consume.
numb.
Mhm.
Numb, consume,
Mm-hmm.
watch the game.
Watch the game.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's like,
Yeah.
hey, just sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Like the illusionist is like,
Yeah.
he's showing
True.
you all that stuff, but with his foot,
Yep.
he's doing it over
That's
here.
a David Icke thing too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. Sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand, baby. Yeah, you all aren't ready for the sports conspiracy. Sports is not real conspiracy. Is such a vibe.
I'll say one thing about sports because I'm a sports guy. I respect and honor. I work with a lot of world class athletes, a couple world number ones,
Mm.
and I respect the athlete. But
Yeah.
the system of sports is out of hand.
I completely
I'll
I
say
agree.
think that's like with a few different
Mhm.
industries. I feel
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
respecting the genius, the athlete, the whatever. It's like, but then the system within which they have to play
Yeah.
and be quote successful. All these things is
It's a churn and burn.
churn and
They
Churn
don't
and
take care
burn.
of them. They don't
Yeah.
care about their health. They use them for profit and then they
Mhm.
discard of them after 2 years. I mean, most people are out by what, 24 or something?
Yep, and they do the same thing with our veterans. They do the
A
same thing,
100%.
and then they sell you the emotional stories.
Yes.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just
Even teachers.
yep to everyone.
Yeah.
Everything has some level of perversion,
Yeah.
right? Where they'll
Mothers.
take mothers. Yeah, they'll take something that's so holy and the truth, and then dismantle it a little
Yeah.
bit.
100%. Well, that's
Sleight of hand,
upside down world.
upside down,
Mhm.
bizarre
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. Yeah, where
But-
they take the thing like church. They're like, this is the way to God. And it's like, actually, this is the way to hell. You know what I mean? Like, we're taking God away from everyone and we're going to hide it. And you have to do this to get to God. And actually, this
Yeah.
is going to be like satanic.
I didn't say that.
I did. That's light for, I feel like,
I like that.
I feel like people kind of get.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mhm.
Last question on the health thing.
Sure.
So of the supplements from Cymbiotika, what would you recommend for a woman that's between her ages 25 to 35, that lives in a city, that works a lot, that maybe feels burnt out, that wants to support her health?
I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Hormone health, maybe supporting hormones.
Mm.
okay. So obviously, we just had the molecular hydrogen. That is a novelty product. The molecular hydrogen is just a game changer. did a 2-hour speech on it on the Cymbiotika.com site. So if people want to really like dive deep on it, I won't take up too much time, but it literally gets to the root cause of everything. It's the detonator of oxidative stress at the subcellular level. Unlike any antioxidant in the world, nothing comes close. Hydrogen is the smallest first element on the periodic table. And the fact that we can get to 12 parts per million in a tablet is just unbelievable. So I would start there. From there, the adrenal tonic. That it comes, a lot of that comes from our biodynamic farm up in Sebastopol, California, and it's a raw extract of herbs, and it's just feeding the hypothalamus, pituitary, and thyroid like there's no tomorrow. It's just such a powerful concoction elixir. And then from there, I would say our Shilajit or the methyl B12. The methyl B12 is really good. A lot of people have the MTHFR gene mutation. Are you familiar with that gene mutation?
No.
So you guys should probably get tested on that. I would say 70% of, yeah.
You're
mutated.
He looks at us, he's like, yeah, you freaks got that thing.
Have you heard of methylation?
No, I've heard of methane gas from cows. That's pretty much it.
There's a lot of people with methane gas. Let me tell you, their food combining is terrible. They're eating sugar. They're eating desserts after protein and fats. It's like, what
do you
the
mean?
heck?
That's my literal every day.
Yeah. Well,
so I have to wait.
You're creating kombucha in your body.
I know. Oh, that's why my colonic is like something's fermenting.
She's like, watch that.
She literally is like, something's fermenting in your body, and it's like,
don't do that anymore.
No colonics?
No. I'm not.
Don't do the food combining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just keep your fruits and dessert by himself. Don't combine that with a meal. That right there.
The whole meal, I'm like,
your body's trying to digest.
Can't wait for the next step.
Fats and proteins take 2 hours to digest. If you throw glucose on top of that or whatever you're eating, which takes 5 minutes, you're causing a confusion, and then you're causing gas to build up, and that creates a lot of havoc in the body. So methylation. So MTHFR gene mutation. This is important. So if someone's listening to this, go to your doctor, go to your alternative doctor, go to whoever, and that's a test that they can do. The way our cells detoxify is through a process called methylation. Methylation is at the cellular level of detoxification. It's how the body determines what cells we should cleanse or which cell we should do program death with. That's called apoptosis. When that whole thing gets messed up, that's when you have cancer, or you have something called senescence. Senescence is a senile cell that's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. I would say a majority of the population are going into immunosenescence, where their natural killer cells and their defense systems are not working, and that's why they're breaking down and getting all these weird things. And so there are ingredients in our products that help you methylate. One of them is methylcobalamin and L-methylfolate. We have that in our B12 product. So our B12 product is not just, B12. It's the two forms of methylating compounds in the B complex world. And it also has vitamin B6, which is pyridoxine, which lowers homeocysteine throughout the body, which is a crazy amino acid that's directly related to heart disease and other things as well. So that concoction right there is so phenomenal. There are kids that they think are on the autistic spectrum, when the whole time that's not the case. They just can't methylate. And if a child's 5 years old and is not methylating, then they're getting quiet, they're getting distracted, they're getting angry because they don't know what the hell's going on within them. Another one for women, this is, I don't know how I forgot about this one. This might be a really, really important one, is our glutathione formula.
Yeah, I love it.
This formula is not only is there glutathione in it, but there's also PQQ, pyroquinolone quinone, which is a tongue twister, but it's one of the most interesting molecules and compounds I've ever worked with, and we have 20 milligrams in there in one serving size, which is a pretty large amount. I mean, we could just sell that product just that alone, but it made sense to combine it with that. And that is a brain nutrient that works as it helps the lymphatic system. So we have our lymph nodes in our body. We also have lymph nodes in our brain, and that's called the lymphatic system. So it detoxifies the brain, detoxifies the liver. That product right there, I do like 2 or 3 of those a day.
I like the taste of that one.
I love the flavor.
Same.
There's a little
orange spice to that.
Yeah, a little
I love
spice.
that one.
I like it.
And because it's encapsulated with a liposome and it's in a single serving, it's not oxidizing. A lot of the glutathione products on the market, when you open it up, it's very sulfur rich. It tastes like it's like gross. It's like, what the hell what's going on here? I can't eat this. And so because we've encapsulated it and we've tightly packed it, that stuff just is brilliant. I do 2 or 3 of those a day with the B12. But everything has a rhyme and a reason to it. There's a philosophy everywhere in these products.
When do you recommend, and I'm sure it varies per product, but like when are you generally consuming these, putting them in your body? Is it first thing in the morning? Like when can we do this? Should we do this?
We got to get you to stop saying morning. We got to get you to start saying rising.
Word
Rising.
magic.
Love.
Because we're not morning babies.
Unless you're morning every day.
Yeah.
No, that's so true.
Grand rising. Here's to your grand rising.
You guys are spiritual, right? Like,
Yeah, we get it.
Word magic, say no more.
Yeah, we get it.
I mean, the first thing you told me was your Saturn return.
Yeah.
Okay, so so first thing on the rise, I'm drinking spring water with molecular hydrogen.
Great.
That's like my religion now. And then I get out on the earth, I move around, I get exposed to the sun, fully naked,
Yep.
of course. All parts of my body. That activates our immune system. That turns on every biological process.
Even your butthole.
Of course.
I'm done with it, to be honest. I don't think that hurts anybody.
I can't wait to live in a place where I can just
I
fucking
did it
go
in
outside.
Italy.
Yeah.
It's a very unique feeling.
Maybe through a window. I don't
Is there
know.
a chakra in your butthole?
Of course.
Yes.
I thought you were going to show us butthole.
There's a chakra in your butthole?
Absolutely.
I think it activates something.
Yeah.
Totally.
Even your yoni get a little bit of sun.
I do the red light therapy in my private part.
It's great for
big time.
testosterone
Big
for
time.
guys. It's so good to put on their
Okay.
packages.
Yes, men, if you're listening to this, or women, tell your men if they need a little bit more juice in bed, get their balls under the sun for at least 20 minutes.
Cool.
That's key. And so then I drink my Shilajit, and then I have my B12, I have my D3K2, and then from there throughout the day, I might be taking my Golden Mine if I'm getting into, like, I took 2 gold mines before this.
Perfect. You can tell.
I'm so in it.
Proven.
And it's not a stimulant. It's just pure brain medicine. And then, I'll have you guys had our green alchemy, the protein?
No. Oh, yes, I have. It's really good.
It's really good.
I love it.
I actually haven't tried it yet. I thought you meant what's the green?
The super green.
Super greens. Thank you.
That's another powerful. That's really good for women too. Like the Super Greens product might be better for women than it is for men. Just because it just eats shit up in the body that women might have, like candida and other things like that. That stuff is just powerful. It's sulforaphane, right? And so sulforaphane is a potent antioxidant. It also opens up pathways, the NRF2 pathway, similar with this, which actually creates an endogenous production of glutathione and peroxide and superoxide dismutase. Are you guys familiar with SOD? These are powerful antioxidants that the body manufactures, and these products help create the production within your body, right? I'm big on precursors, just like I'm big on like dropping seeds. I don't want to like tell you everything, or I don't want to do everything for the body. We want to get the body doing its own thing, just the way the Mother Nature intended it. And then probiotics are pre and probiotic. I'll match it up with any company out there. I take that right before bed. And,
interesting.
Why?
There's something to, having all that go into effect while you're sleeping and, while you're horizontal, as opposed to just like eating food and running around all day and stuff like that. And there's some literature out there that when you take a comprehensive pre and pro, it's a good idea to take it before bed.
Love that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Topical magnesium I take all day long.
So I just started using it.
Yeah.
I love it before bed, but during the day you use
I take it whenever and however.
And is that the same benefits if it's going in through the skin? What is?
Yes, so it's magnesium chloride, right? So chloride is a transdermal magnesium. It's what you soak in the Dead River or the Dead Sea, excuse me. And it penetrates really well. And we added a little bit of DMSO to it. DMSO is a powerful compound that pulls everything outside of the body into the body. So if you're using that product, don't have perfumes or any of those weird things on you.
Okay.
You know, and if you're
Mhm.
listening to this, a big part of my whole thing is you got to get away from all of those chemical residues.
Yeah.
Those are all beyond disruptors. Those things are cancer causing carcinogenic compounds that shut down your brain, your
Perfumes.
intelligence.
Mhm.
Perfumes,
Yeah, man.
deodorants.
Mhm.
Why do we have a $1 trillion industry that's masking all of these things? Like, just think about that. Like,
Mhm.
all of these things. Like,
Mm.
how do we get to a place where, oh, okay, let's cover up why we smell really bad. Like, we're not supposed to smell really bad. We're
Mhm.
supposed to smell good.
I notice I smell bad
Yeah.
when I'm wearing inorganic fabric
Mm.
or when I'm eating funky food.
Yeah, it makes total
Because
sense.
the body's trying to get rid of it. Like, it's
Mhm.
usually the clothes that I'm wearing. If I'm wearing, like, when I used to wear fast fashion, I'd be like, why the fuck do I reek?
Yeah.
Totally.
It was because it was like trash clothes and all the bleaches and the washes that were in the clothes. My body was like trying to get off.
You're absorbing everything. You really are. The apparel is so huge. I
Yeah.
mean, what we're wearing has such a big effect on our daily
Especially
lives.
symbols too.
Yeah.
Like the symbols and messages and
Mm-hmm.
things that you're wearing on your clothes is actually really,
Totally agree.
yeah.
Are you guys have I'm assuming you live here in LA,
Mhm.
right?
I live in
Mhm.
Brooklyn, New York.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. So you're in Brooklyn. Wow. Okay. So one of my friends, Melissa, she's in New York. I just did her podcast actually, and
Melissa Wood Health.
Melissa Wood, yes.
Uh-huh.
And we were talking about the municipal water in New York,
Yeah.
and the municipal water in LA.
It's better in New York though, right?
Well,
I have a
'Cause they pull
filtration system.
don't they pull it from the Poconos?
certain boroughs
Okay.
are different than other
Yeah.
boroughs, I guess.
Yeah.
From what
I mean,
what
of
I'm
course.
learning. But either way, you need to have filtration if you're.
I got the water filter from you guys.
Oh, you did. Okay, that's good. We'll start there. If you're listening to this and you can afford it, and you're going to live in your house for at least 2 years, if not longer. Maybe invest in a home filtration
Yeah.
system, not for drinking, but for all your bathing.
Mhm.
That's really important. We're picking up all these things in the water supply,
Mm.
and it's more than it's more than just absorbing through your skin. You're actually breathing it in
Mhm.
through the vapors, and there's weird stuff in the water supply
Mhm.
beyond just fluoride and
Plastics,
For
chlorine.
sure.
Birth control,
Birth control, hormones,
Yes.
hormones.
all kinds of pathogens, and that's going into your lungs. And that's the
Yeah.
fastest way of getting any type of toxin or drug in your body is through the lungs.
How does it get to the vapor? Because you're breathing it
You're
in.
breathing it in.
Mm.
Yep. And that stuff adds up over time.
So wait,
know.
you guys have a
Water filter.
water filter that
We have
attaches.
we have an attached shower filter, which is kind of unlike most shower filters that you just replace the cartridge. This whole shower filter is one big medium, right? Meaning it's just got a lot of material in it. And so we've actually had that shower bust a couple times, just in full transparency, because that just shows you how dirty the water is. You know what I
Wow.
mean? It's just because it's so much water has got to get through such a tight space and still create pressure. So it's like picking up all that stuff. And we've had them pop a few times, and it just shows you like how gnarly the water systems are.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Anything else you want to
Yeah.
leave with our audience?
Yeah. Any other seeds?
Any
Wow,
other
we've
things you want to
Yeah, we've
drop?
gone there.
we've covered a lot here.
Yeah.
This is,
You have to come back.
Yeah,
Would love to
we
have
can
you.
go. We can get a little bit more granular next time on granular. That word's driving me crazy.
I know.
Especially when it's overused. It's like, okay, can you get granular? It's like, dude,
Yeah, if you're sitting with
100%.
I'm not-
podcasters, you'll hear words over and over.
dude.
Can we double click?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm not, whoever hears this, I'm not making fun of you if you hear this. Okay. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah. Like, again, it's an honor to be here. And I'm so stoked to meet new friends and new soul tribe. And really this isn't all the things that I've talked about today. I want to be very clear is things that I'm working on with myself as well. It's not something that I've completely mastered. I'm not, I speak with authority because I've been doing this for a while, and I'm coming from a place of my heart. Like my heart's in this, I'm ready to fight and die on the streets for anyone and everyone. But I just want to let you know that this is achievable. All these things are achievable if you really, just step into it and release release the pain and the projection of fear. And you're not alone. We're really like kind of holding hands throughout this entire process. And it's really just a fun, beautiful journey to have,
Mm.
the discoveries and the beauties of the unraveling. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about having more and more discoveries of life, and being someone that can offer some truth.
Mm. Thank you.
Thank you.
My honor.
All right, guys, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Shervin, the founder of Cymbiotika, our favorite brand right now. We appreciate it so very much. You can follow him on Instagram at CHERVIN333. And then Cymbiotika is on Instagram at Cymbiotika. That's CYMBIOTIKA. And then symbiotika.com is where you can get all the products we talked about. And make sure to use the code ALMOST30.
And again, thanks so much for listening to Almost 30. If you want to learn more about what we're doing here at Almost 30, the community, the membership, the programs, the podcast, and more, almost30.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at almost30podcast. I'm at Lindsay Simcik, SIMCIK.
And I'm at It's Krista.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.